In my personal opinion, the Tyler Oliveira versus Vince Vintage situation might just be one of the most exciting and interesting controversies in recent history, because the special aspect about this drama is that Tyler Oliveira and Vince Vintage mutually despise each other to such an extreme extent that they are both willing to actively lie in their videos to paint the other person in the worst light possible, and I am absolutely here for it. I love this type of drama, mainly because there are no ulterior motives in mind. No one's motivated by like clout or like trying to launch false SA allegations. These are just two people who genuinely cannot stand each other and have zero respect for the other person and therefore try to talk down each other's content, and that's my favorite type of controversy, honestly. Although from what I've seen, the response of the commentary community to this drama has left me massively disappointed, because essentially every commentary streamer watched Vince's video and went like, oh, if this is true, this looks very bad for Tyler, and then they watched Tyler's response and went like, oh, if what he's saying is true, this makes Vince look horrible. But then no one actually fact-checked either of their claims. Everyone just lazily reacting to their videos. However, I do actually want to do the footwork here and try to verify as much as I possibly can so that casual viewers can get a decent understanding of the drama, because I feel like the commentary community has failed to properly report on this. So today I went and fact-checked every single claim Vince launched against Tyler, and we're gonna go over everything step by step, pointing out lies on both sides, and we're gonna figure out who the more dishonest YouTuber is. So yeah, if you haven't noticed already, I'm not really taking a side here. I will be debunking claims from both camps, so if you're coming into this video thinking that there is one person clearly in the right and another one in the wrong, then I think you might need to seriously reconsider your position. But let's set the scene first. Vince Vintage is a video essay YouTuber who has been uploading high quality deep dive videos for multiple years now and amassed over 800k subs. He's a pretty well established creator with a lot of industry connections and an above average track record, as he's only ever gotten himself in one single major controversy a year ago when a hacker tried to come after his YouTube channel. At the time, a lot of well respected and well known YouTubers spoke out in defense of Vince, shedding light on the situation and entirely taking his side, therefore showing that Vince is indisputably one of the most liked and well connected YouTubers in the scene, even though his content more so focuses on celebrities than actual creators. Now Tyler Oliveira, on the other hand, surprisingly got his initial buzz on YouTube through being the 7 millionth MrBeast subscriber, which led to Jimmy flying him out to be in a video. Now you can definitely see the MrBeast inspiration in a lot of his early content, which mainly consisted of ridiculous concepts and sensationalized challenge videos. However, in 2023 he got himself into a huge controversy with YouTube villain Brent Rivera. Now just like Vince, Tyler too received universal support from other creators, with almost no one being on Brent's side. However, unlike Vince, Tyler actually used the attention of the controversy to switch up his content from MrBeast style videos to what he calls investigative journalism videos. Now most of these videos are extremely controversial, and a lot of his critics have called them hyper sensationalized, biased, discriminatory, etc. But despite the controversial nature of the content, Tyler managed to triple the size of his YouTube channel through walking down this path of rage-baiting journalism. Now what's the connection between Vince and Tyler? Well, there seems to be none from what I could find. They had never even interacted with each other before until a few months ago, when Vince decided to start tweeting negatively about Tyler, presumably because he just stumbled across one of Tyler's videos and found it to be extremely misleading. Now Tyler responded to one of Vince's digs, which led to a Twitter spat and eventually resulted in Vince conducting a self-admitted 4-month investigation on Tyler's content, culminating in this exposed video right here. Now it seems like Vince really just despises Tyler, and Tyler appears to feel the same way, as he quickly responded with a hit piece of his own. Now it's very interesting to see the disconnect between the left and the right side of the political spectrum through this drama. On the left-leaning part of Twitter Vince is on, he's absolutely destroying Tyler in the court of public opinion, yet on YouTube Vince's video is full with Tyler fans calling him disingenuous and a liar. Now outside of their own platform, there hasn't really been any productive coverage on this drama, just a lot of fence sitting by commentary streamers. So despite this being a heavily political situation, I want to create a piece of content digestible for both sides of this conflict. So I'm gonna go through the allegations point by point, and I'm gonna keep count of the lies, disingenuous framing, and just outright idiotic arguments, and whoever ends up with less points at the end will be crowned the lesser of two evils, even though again both of them came out of this looking pretty awful. Because both of their videos feel extremely petty, with Tyler as well as Vince purposely putting up the worst screenshots they could find of each other whenever talking about the other person, which to me at least does come across as a bit petty and childish. Nevertheless, the framing of both of their videos also seems a bit disingenuous to me, because Vince basically starts out his expose by claiming that he won't call Tyler Oliveira a racist, but instead merely point out that he's a liar.
I'm not trying to take you off the platform. I'm not even going to call you a racist, a Hitler, Tyler Oliveira. I'm just going to call you for what you really are. A liar.
Yet he then goes on to essentially insinuate that Tyler is racist throughout the whole video, ending certain arguments with phrases like, "Now am I saying this is racist?" dramatically pausing, shrugging his shoulders, and then moving on to the next topic.
Most racist man in America. Now, am I saying this is racist?
Like, come on, you are heavily insinuating that he's racist, just be honest about it. But Tyler's framing isn't much better either, cause he's going with the narrative that Vince is obsessed with destroying his channel and career.
Vince is a YouTuber who creates video essays. Besides a single photo of him getting married, congratulations by the way, Vince's entire Twitter account is dedicated to myself and my channel over the last couple months. Non-stop, my balls in his mouth like an obsessive ex-girlfriend. And Vince's poorly constructed hit piece against me and my name is the longest video ever uploaded on his channel. The second longest video is one about Jeffrey Epstein. Yup.
And like, what are you trying to say here, dude? Are you implying that Vince is comparing you to Epstein, the most evil man of the 21st century? Or are you trying to say that because the video is longer, he despises you more than Epstein? Whatever the case, it's idiotic, and this is the classic muddying the waters tactic, which I do also see as sorta disingenuous. Like, okay, Vince admits to this investigation having taken 4 months, and if you do admit to having worked on something for this long, and your exposed video isn't even a slam dunk, it does make some people look at you sideways, but at the same time claiming this makes Vince outright obsessed and that he wants to destroy Tyler's career is a bit of an overreaction. I mean, yeah, to be fair, there's this comment implying that Vince wants to hurt Tyler's business, but isn't anyone that uploads an exposed video in a way guilty of this? Anyway, I don't think Vince is necessarily obsessed, just like I don't think Tyler is necessarily racist. There are also other problems with the way they frame each other's videos, like Vince making jokes at the expense of Tyler's mother and playing the moral outrage card with every argument. Meanwhile, Tyler tries staying at Vince by shaming him for his age for some reason, but I don't care. I'm gonna give all of this mirroring here a pass. I'm just gonna go and get into the actual arguments from now on. Alright, so Vince's first point is that Tyler tried to stage a car break-in by baiting someone to steal a PlayStation conveniently left right there on the dashboard of his car in a high crime area. Now, this incident took place during the filming of the Oakland Where Every Crime is Legal video, and this is what Vince had to say about it.
Now let's go to his video, Oakland Where Every Crime is Legal. Now, this video consists of Tyler going to Oakland, California, talking all about the car break-ins and how they've gone up 50 million% or whatever it is.
Lawlessness, crime, homelessness, police giving up.
And the whole video essentially boils down to, if you come to Oakland, your car will get broken into.
Now, Vince gets a point here for disingenuous framing, because I watched through the whole video and the main focus is on homelessness, shoplifting, and a supposed drug epidemic. Car break-ins aren't really talked about that frequently throughout the video. In my opinion, the whole piece more so boils down to something like, Oakland is getting destroyed by lawlessness, we need to save the city, and while I do think that's hyperbolic and really dumb, it's still important to point out that this isn't the same as saying your car will be broken into if you come here. Anyway, so Vince cross-referenced a parking ticket Tyler showed in the video with the license plate of this car here and deduced that this is in fact Tyler's car, and he purposely left a PlayStation on the dash to bait a car break-in.
So Tyler went to the store, bought a PS5, put it on the dash, left his car out, and hid out in a little bush trying to capture someone breaking into his car. Tyler is baiting someone into breaking into his car to try to capture it on footage. Because what would make the ultimate footage for Tyler? Oh my god, I went to Oakland, California, and the break-ins are so bad that my car got broken into.
Now, Tyler responded to this by essentially just admitting that this is exactly what he did and that he doesn't see a problem with running a sting operation, and he did also point out that there were multiple instances in the video where he spoke to people that recently got their cars broken into, so it's not like there's no frequent crime in that area. Now, my take on this is that trying to get someone to break into your own car car in order to get more views on YouTube is absolutely unhinged cloud demon behavior. But at the same time, I don't really see how Tyler is necessarily being disingenuous here, because even though he would be somewhat encouraging people to break into his car, these people still at the end of the day broke into his car. They're still in the wrong here. This is just like blaming a woman for getting assaulted during the night because she was outside alone wearing tight clothes. It's idiotic to try and come after Tyler for this, especially since this wasn't even a big part of his video. Tyler tried to pull a sting operation, it failed and nothing happened. Like, I don't understand Vince's point at all here. He even goes on to say that this is somehow just like faking a prank video times 10.
Clearly looks like some like cop sting operation shit. This is like levels of like faking a prank video times 10.
How is this anything like faking a prank? Tyler didn't fake anything. Even if someone had broken into his car, it would have been entirely real. So I believe this is way less egregious than faking a prank, never mind 10 times worse. Vince gets 2 idiotic argument points for his line of argumentation here. Now, even though I am highly critical of Vince regarding this point, I gotta admit that Tyler did also include some manipulation in his response to this argument.
His real point is that car break-ins and auto theft is so rare in the city of Oakland that we had to perform a little sting operation to show that cars do get broken into.
Because frankly, when Tyler goes to these places, it's not as bad as he always wants it to be. So by Tyler showing all these news clips, it could seem way worse than what it really is.
I do think that this is manipulative framing, because that's not at all what Vince said. Vince didn't say anything along the lines of car break-ins are rare in Oakland. The clip Tyler showed was from a completely different part of Vince's video, where he was talking about the news footage Tyler shows during his videos. So I do feel like this is disingenuous framing on Tyler's part, because he's sort of misrepresenting Vince's overall point, even though, again, in my opinion, Vince's point here made no sense to begin with. Now let's move on to the next accusation, Darren Stallcup. This guy is so incredibly unhinged, he deserves his own video honestly. If this video does well, I'll make a full deep dive. So during the Oakland video, Tyler brought on expert journalist Darren Stallcup to help him figure out the truth behind the homelessness epidemic. Now I researched this guy and he definitely should not be calling himself an investigative journalist. I would define him more as like a fear-mongering e-bagger. His whole stick is basically that he's from San Francisco and he's personally seen the city collapse, as it's been taken over by fentanyl addicts. His content basically consists of him walking through shitty areas of the city, filming himself next to drug addicts while blaming the homelessness on the Democratic Party. That's why he's now right-wing, because he thinks Trump will fix all of this somehow. Also, he founded the World Peace Movement, to which he either refers to as an international movement or just a small family-owned business, depending on whatever fits his narrative best that day. I'm gonna show you some of this guy's greatest moments. So this guy launched a campaign attempting to get the city of San Francisco to declare a state of emergency due to an apparent ongoing fentanyl epidemic. He then doubled down, claiming it's not just an epidemic, rather there's a whole fentanyl genocide. In fact, fent is nothing more than chemical warfare against the people of America. He claims this chemical warfare is being conducted by the communist Chinese government, the Democrats, and Honduran cartels. He even went as far as to claim that out of the 1.7 million people who immigrated into the United States in the spring of last year, the majority of them are Honduran invaders who are selling fent and walking around San Francisco openly carrying 3D printed rainbow assault rifles. The only way you can believe that there are over 800,000 Honduran immigrants selling fentanyl in San Francisco is if you yourself are on so much fent that you're on the verge of an overdose. Like, these are extremely unhinged claims. There's also this great clip of him just walking up to a homeless dude who's clearly either like passed out or on the verge of passing out, and he just starts recording himself next to him, asking him to leave instead of, you know, doing the sensible thing and maybe calling an ambulance or just like ignoring it.
This gentleman is passed out on the ground from fentanyl and his leg is inflated. Sir, I'm gonna have to respectfully ask that you please walk away from the children's playground. I know you're going through a lot right now.
Like, this dude clearly exploits the homeless for money. He doesn't actually care. He claims he fought off burglars multiple times with his own bare hands. And yeah, I don't believe that for a single second, because with the way this guy is wired, there's no way he would have done that without filming himself. He worked at Trader Joe's and self-admittedly got fired for smoking a blunt during his lunch break. So he then gets a job at the Cheesecake Factory, where he also unsurprisingly got fired within a few months months. However, while working there, he managed to gift himself somewhat of an online following, so this time he claimed he was a model employee working diligently until midnight every single day, and now wants to sue the Cheesecake Factory because they apparently owe him 5.5k in unpaid wages. Yeah, sure buddy, I 100% believe you there. It's really credible coming from the guy smoking weed during his lunch breaks. There was also a situation where he claimed to have successfully stopped a robbery in a local San Francisco diner. However, the diner owner actually revealed all he did was fight off a homeless guy who tried to take a $2 cash tip left on a table for himself. And according to the San Francisco Standard, he then demanded a free cheeseburger from the restaurant for his efforts, and after facing backlash, he called the restaurant, who he claims to have saved from getting robbed, liars, and proudly proclaimed that he's a true hero on social media. Yeah, this guy is a total nutter. He has a messiah complex, he's clearly grifting, he's straight up spreading misinformation, and Tyler brought him on as his expert on the San Francisco situation. Like, that alone is so ridiculously disingenuous. That would be equivalent to me like conducting an investigation on the Mr. Beast drama and then bringing in Cam Nuggets as my unbiased expert to help me uncover the truth. Like, it's insane for Tyler to even associate with this guy. Now, given I've just explained to you why I believe Darren Stallcup is an unhinged lunatic, you surely would expect me to agree with whatever Vince is criticizing him for. Well, not quite. Unfortunately, Vince had to go lie about him for some bizarre reason.
Now, this guy isn't a journalist. He's actually a used car salesman who pulled a $7,000 GoFundMe scam a couple months earlier.
Now, this is just straight up stupid and also not true. I have no idea why Vince is attempting to call this guy a scammer or a fake journalist, because I feel like just showing a few of his tweets would have already been enough to make it clear to the audience that Darren is obviously not a good guy and that Tyler is destroying his credibility by bringing him in as his investigative partner. Now, contrary to what Vince believes, Darren actually has been a journalist throughout the past couple of years. Because newsflash, you can actively put out journalistic work while also working a 9 to 5. That's entirely possible. This Darren guy has a massive backlog of journalistic activities. Now, obviously, his work is completely biased and he's not a trustworthy source at all, but it's still journalistic work at the end of the day. Calling this guy a fake journalist is just false. The worst part about this is that at the time Tyler's video came out, he really did work as a full-time journalist because he only got a 9 to 5 a few weeks after, which Vince knew by the way, because he had both dates pulled up in his video, yet he willingly lied about it for no real reason. Now, as to the scamming part, I looked into Darren's history and he's organized a total of 7 GoFundMes, most of them for his idiotic movement, one because he claims his house got broken into, one because of his dad being sick in the hospital. That one is shady to me because the timeline doesn't quite add up there, but I don't have any evidence of any wrongdoing unfortunately, and 2 GoFundMes for him to move from his old neighborhood in San Francisco to a safer new one. Now, this is the one Vince alleges is a scam. He doesn't explain why it's a scam in this video, but from what I could find online, basically a lot of people believe these GoFundMes to be a scam because he originally launched a failed one, then he went on Fox News and used the publicity to relaunch the same thing under a different title, and once he reached his donation goal of 6k, he increased it to $8,000. Now, despite asking for money, Darren could then be seen throughout the following months vacationing in Brazil, Hawaii, and Europe. When called out, Darren would state that an impulsive emotional reaction resulted in the Brazil trip, the Europe trip was paid for by his girlfriend and her relatives, and that the Hawaii trip is just his yearly thing. Now, regardless of whether that's all true or not, the fact is Darren did move away from his neighborhood after that GoFundMe. He fulfilled his promise. Now, to be clear here, he definitely received the money through shady measures. I mean, he constantly e-bagged for it, and he might have used a portion of it for unnecessary vacations. But the fact of the matter is, he did what he said he would. He moved away. He probably didn't need the 7.5k for it, especially since his initial goal was just set to 6k, but it's not an outright scam. For it to be a scam, he would have had to not move location. So calling him a scammer is just plain wrong. He could honestly sue you for defamation, even though I do believe his measures are highly disingenuous. So this becomes yet another point where Vince somehow looks terrible, even though this should have been a slam dunk on Tyler, cause this Darren guy is just completely unhinged. By the way, Tyler responded by showing a heartfelt message from Darren and never even mentioning why people think Darren is a scammer, which is a bit manipulative, but that's to be expected at this point considering what Vince alleged. Now, if you enjoyed this video so far, please drop a like, it helps me out a lot. Also, sub to the channel. I'm trying to hit 1.2k subs this month, and I know we can do it. Also, you might have seen it on Twitter already, I finalized my new setup, and the new PC allowed me to switch to a different editing program. I'm now using Premiere Pro instead of the old free shitty editing program I had. But as I'm completely new to the platform, I'm hoping you'll excuse any possible editing mistakes I could make with this or the next couple of videos, but I promise you it will get better with every video I release. Anyway, back to the video. Now, I've given Vince a lot of shit throughout the past couple of arguments, but now we finally reach a point that I pretty much entirely agree with Vince on. Now, Vince alleges that Tyler faked getting robbed during that Jamaica video right here, and I'm not even gonna show you Vince's line of argumentation, I'm just gonna show you the original footage from Tyler's video.
2 armed muggers came over to rob me and my cameraman and barely spared us only after recognizing Jamaica walk by as he yelled "Bumbleclat" in the distance. They told us to turn the cameras off, and instead of robbing us, they agreed to be interviewed if we brought them some cash.
So we're interviewing transgender prostitutes on the street, and then you saw what?
I saw a car pass, the freaking car made a U-turn. So I was like, all right, let me just park the freaking van, you know what I mean? When I realized the guys come out of the van, come out of the car, and comes up and swing around. And I said, oh, I realized that we're in trouble now.
And within that time, these 2 guys came over with a knife and a taser to come rob and kill us. Or kidnap.
Them come or kidnap.
We're basically being extorted right now in real time to where we have to go get some cash, or we run the risk of Fabian getting murdered and killed on the streets one day for conning them. So we have to get some cash right now because we spent all of our money interviewing prostitutes.
And he then proceeds to actually withdraw cash, drive back to the alleged criminals attempting to rob, kidnap, or murder him, and he gets an interview where they even show off their weapons and all that type of shit. I'm gonna be blunt, I don't believe that this is real at all. Like, you're telling me these people drove up to you attempting to rob you only to then pause because they recognized your tour guide, giving you the chance to escape getting robbed and kidnapped, so you drive away but then decide to come back to the criminals offering them money for an interview instead of just leaving. That is such a ridiculous story. It's incredibly hard to believe Tyler here, especially since his tour guide can literally be seen laughing in the background while Tyler explains what happened. Like, the most unbelievable part for me isn't even that Tyler would drive back to the criminals to pay them money for an interview, because remember, he was prepared to have his actual car get broken into for a YouTube video. Like, this guy is a clout demon. But I'm definitely not willing to believe that these criminals, who according to Tyler were prepared to rob and murder them, would not only stop because of the tour guide, but then also agree to give an interview. Like, imagine you're actually fully trying to rob and kidnap someone. Are you really gonna let yourself be convinced to give an interview to that person instead? Especially since from the robber's perspective, Tyler driving away to get money for them would run the massive risk of him just escaping and then reporting them to the police. Like, genuinely, the robbers agreeing to go through with this makes even less sense than Tyler actually driving back to the robbers after they let him escape. I do find the story to be highly unbelievable, and it's very telling that Tyler didn't even respond to the point in his video. He just ignored it, hoping people would forget. So I don't have undeniable evidence that this is indeed fake, but if I had to come up with an estimate based on the ridiculousness of Tyler's story, I want to confidently state that this has like a 98% chance of being fake. Of course, there's still the possibility that this guy really just had amazing Speech 100 abilities and convinced the robbers to change their ways in the uncut footage, and if that's the case, I will hold my hands up and admit that I was wrong, but for now, I am counting this as an outright lie by Tyler. Now, speaking of Tyler's guide, there's another situation involving him that I have to go over, but unfortunately for Vince, this time the evidence here is absolutely not on his side. Now, essentially during a section of the Jamaica video, Tyler claimed to be on his own without his guide. Vince attempts to contest that claim by going to the vlog Tyler's guide released and showcasing that he was with Tyler all along.
While my guide was nowhere in sight, I first thought I was setting myself up to get robbed, but it turns out this guy was giving me a full tour of the community with unexpected hospitality.
All right, we're visiting the garden right now. A little baby young mango. Is this where you make the juice?
So I'm thinking, oh my god, Tyler's gonna get murdered. Tyler's in the murder capital of the world without his guide. Oh my god, he's gonna die, he's gonna get robbed. Seems pretty bad. But let's watch this interaction from a different angle.
Is this where you make the juice?
Yes.
Thank you, thank you. Oh, so this is what we just tried.
Oh, okay. That's Tyler's cameraman. That's clearly the same thing going on. Where's this camera angle from? Oh, it's almost like his guide was right there and took this footage, but Tyler had to sell it off is that his guide was nowhere to be seen and that Tyler was gonna get murdered.
While my guide was nowhere in sight, I first thought I was setting myself up to get robbed.
Tyler's guide posted a 2-hour-long vlog of their entire day, and the guide was there the entire time.
Now firstly, this is disingenuous framing on Vince's part because he's making it seem like Tyler wanted his audience to believe that he's in danger, setting himself up to get murdered, when in reality Tyler literally said that he was met with unexpected hospitality, and the whole section was him filming himself getting a friendly tour through the environment and being randomly invited to try some special juice from this Jamaican lady. So the vibe there definitely wasn't, oh, Tyler is in immediate danger here. But still, Tyler claimed his tour guide was nowhere in sight, yet he appears to have been there all along. That's still a lie, right? Well, not quite. See, Tyler actually managed to outright disprove Vince's argument with his response.
But in reality, my guide was not there, and here's 28 minutes of behind the scenes footage that show him and I separated. And here's the exact moment where him and I reconnect.
Tyler and Blake up there getting some footage and thing. As for me, it's a little bit early in the morning and me hungry.
And here's my guide's POV in that same 2-hour-long vlog that Vince points to in his video, stating that we were together the entire time. Yet look, where am I? We aren't together. And then look at that. There's the exact moment from my guide's POV where we reconnected.
Obviously, the evidence there speaks for itself. The footage conclusively confirms that Tyler had been separated from his tour guide for 28 minutes total, therefore proving that Tyler did not lie. Now, I would be willing to cut Vince some slack here if Tyler's uncut, unreleased footage proved him wrong, because there would have been no way for Vince to know about it. But the real issue here is that Vince's actual source that he used as his smoking gun evidence for Tyler lying about this is literally the upload of Tyler's guide, meaning that the same video Vince uses as the foundation of his entire argument outright disproves his whole line of argumentation entirely, and instead confirms that Tyler was not with his guide the entire time. Vince's literal own source proves him wrong. These are levels of manipulation beyond belief, and yes, Vince is straight up lying here because he knew from the video he self-admittedly watched that Tyler's guide wasn't there, yet he still ran with the claim anyways. That single decision discredits Vince Vintage massively because it conclusively proves that he's willing to outright lie to further fuel his narrative. Now, quite frankly, I am getting sick of Jamaica. I need a change of scenery, so let's talk about Tyler's Sweden video instead. Now, firstly, this thumbnail really startles me, so I need to briefly talk about it. This might be the most insane thumbnail I have ever seen on YouTube. Like, we gotta appreciate the sheer mania here for a second. He dressed this guy up in Gucci clothes and photoshopped a handgun into his pocket. There are Sweden flags burning everywhere, the only white people in the background are getting robbed, and obviously he's making it seem like the guy here complains that $34K isn't enough money. Realistically, this thumbnail should earn him 2,000 points for disingenuous framing. I really don't understand what's up with these right-wingers going to Sweden and making it seem like it's the worst place on earth, when in reality it's like literally one of the most progressed states out there, at least in regards to snooze addiction. But regardless, let's hear Vince out on what he has to say about this video.
Is a kebab stand in every street corner worth sacrificing a country's entire culture?
And alongside in the thumbnail, Tyler has the word kebab right in the background. Now, when Tyler equates an entire ethnicity of people to a kebab stand, kebab, that's a reference to the popular meme, Remove Kebab, which, if you don't know, is about the Bosnian military when they genocided 7,500 Muslims and made a song called Remove Kebab. And this song was played as the New Zealand church Christ shooter shot up 51 Muslims in 2 different mosques, and even called himself the Kebab Remover. So I don't know if equating an entire ethnicity of people to a kebab stand maybe comes off as a little bit racist.
I want to get a few things out of the way here. Firstly, saying that the Bosnian military committed Muslim genocide kind of showcases a basic lack of education on Vince's part, because the Bosnian military were generally considered to be mostly Muslims in that war. The troops actually responsible for violence against Muslims were from the Serbian-backed Republic Srpska. That's why the original title of the meme video translates to Serbia Strong. I know that might seem like an irrelevant thing to correct Vince on, but as part Eastern European, shit like this triggers me. Regardless, to address the elephant in the room, is this thumbnail racist? I mean, it definitely promotes negative stereotypes and it seems extremely bigoted to me, but calling it outright racist? Well, I'm gonna be controversial and say yes. It does look racist to me. But at the same time, I can understand people saying that it isn't. Because in order to like determine whether or not it's racist, you gotta try and like translate it to your own ethnicity. Like imagine if this video was about Americans instead and he put like a morbidly obese guy in a mobility scooter as the guy getting interviewed and then a bunch of gun carrying rednecks in the background and turned the kebab stand into like a hot dog stand with like American flags burning everywhere. Would you then consider it racist? I'm still unsure how people would feel about this, to be honest, but for me, it at the very least promotes negative stereotypes, but at the same time, Vince is going too far yet again here, because he's claiming this one sentence from Tyler's video and the kebab stand in the thumbnail referenced a Muslim genocide, and in return a mosque shooting, and it's just like, come on Vince, realistically there's no way Tyler is referencing any of that. Your evidence for this is literally Tyler put a kebab stand there and said the word kebab in the video, therefore he's referencing the remove kebab meme, therefore he's referencing the Bosnian genocide, therefore he's referencing a mosque shooting, therefore he equates a whole religion to a kebab stand. That whole line of thinking is nonsense. That jumping to conclusions here is insane. This is like the internet anarchist stuff all over again. It's way more plausible that Tyler in his infinite wisdom thought something along the lines of, I need a place where a lot of Arab people typically meet up to put in the thumbnail. Oh, I know, kebab stand. And yeah, that's definitely bigoted by Tyler, and again, I personally do actually believe that the thumbnail is racist, but Vince is once again taking it a step too far. By the way, I liked how Vince called this like a little bit racist. So his way of not calling Tyler a racist is calling him just a little bit racist. Yeah, great job Vince, you're definitely not making it political. Now Vince then also proceeds to make this plainly idiotic argument that Tyler is showing Muslims holding an ISIS flag during a demonstration in Malaysia while talking about peace with a Muslim activist, thereby subconsciously letting his audience believe the clip is from Sweden and that Muslims in Sweden aren't peaceful.
But when Tyler goes to the part of her talking about Islam in Sweden, Tyler shows this video on screen.
The way someone see Islam in Afghanistan or in Somalia or in Iran or in Sweden is obviously different.
And we're led to believe, wow, while this lady is talking about Islam being peaceful, they are protesting, oh my god, and there's an ISIS flag. Clearly that isn't just a peaceful protest that they have ISIS flags in Sweden. But once again, this clip isn't from Sweden. It's from motherfucking Malaysia.
Now Vince seems to believe that this is a massive own against Tyler, but in reality it's a complete self-report. This is simultaneously disingenuous and also just idiotic. Firstly, it's disingenuous because I went to the actual video and they aren't even comparing Swedish values to Islam during that clip. Instead they're talking about the different interpretations of Islam around the globe, which is why Tyler shows footage of Muslims in different places. Never once did he insinuate that any of these clips are from Sweden. This is a massive misrepresentation of events by Vince, but also it's just blatantly idiotic because this isn't even an ISIS flag. It's the Shahada, an Islamic oath not at all exclusive to ISIS, meaning that Vince is literally going on and on and on throughout the video, insinuating that Tyler is in fact a racist, yet he then sees a flag with a message written in Arabic and immediately concludes, yeah, that's gotta be an ISIS flag. To be honest, Vince, for a 4-month investigation, this is incredibly disappointing. Now, while we're on the topic of Vince calling Tyler racist despite saying that he wouldn't, let's bring up his next point, the smoke detector meme. Now Tyler went into an apartment complex and heard a smoke alarm beep because the battery had not been changed in quite some time. He then pointed out that this is a well-known meme. Now Vince goes on to claim that he's once again promoting racism by simply referencing that not changing the batteries on your smoke alarm is a meme.
You can hear the fire alarm that hasn't been changed. That's a meme.
Well, Tyler, where is that meme from? Oh, it's from 4chan, right here. New dog whistle just dropped. It also is a reference to memes like this. Wow, that is some racist ass shit. Now, the meme is basically that black people don't change their smoke alarms and that they're scared of them. would a real journalist bring up a insanely racist meme, and that when Tyler heard the smoke alarm chirp, that clearly meant that black people live inside of the building. It's all a big meme, bro.
Now I think Vince is muddying the waters here, even though this time he at least says somewhat of a point. I did the research and the people are too lazy to change the batteries of their smoke alarms meme actually originated on a show called Loveline over 15 years ago. Now at the time the hosts of the show were just making fun of Americans in general. They oftentimes ridiculed people who were too lazy to change the smoke alarm batteries and would rather hear a beeping sound every few seconds instead. Now this meme wasn't really tied to any specific group of people at all. It was just referencing lazy Americans broadly, but more recently I did find a lot of memes targeting black people in specific, meaning that the smoke detector meme is sort of similar to Pepe the Frog. Not necessarily always racist, but a large group of people do use it in a racist way. Now my issue is that since Tyler could also be referring to the non-racist version of the meme, we don't have enough evidence to definitively state that he's pushing racist ideas here. There's a decent chance he is, but it's impossible to prove. Therefore I personally believe that Vince is being disingenuous here, because we can't for certain say that Tyler was referencing anything racist. Now let's switch it up and actually get into someone who really is a racist. This man right here. You might recognize him from a bunch of YouTube videos. He's commonly known as the most racist man in the United States. He lives in Zinc, Arkansas, and Tyler, like so many others before him, did a video interviewing this guy. Now what's special about Tyler's interaction with this guy is that he actually decided to gift him a present, which he got from an antique store. Now Vince's first issue here is that in his opinion Tyler lied about the place being an antique store, because in reality it's a Ku Klux Klan memorabilia shop.
I drove downtown to an antique store to see if I could find the law in writing.
So Tyler goes to the antique store, he sees the law in writing, he's talking with the shop owner, they go outside and smoke a cigarette, and then Tyler purchases a bag of assault rocks and a bunch of other items. So much stuff that Tyler needed a bag from this so-called antique store. But Tyler fails to mention some other items this antique store sells. Nigglet repellent, a Nigglet scalp, minstrel show outfits, and a rack of KKK uniforms worn by ex-members. These are actual photos from inside the store. This isn't a antique store. This is a KKK memorabilia shop that Tyler passed off as a antique shop. Now, do you think supporting a store like this might come off as maybe a little bit racist? A store that literally sells Nigglet repellent? I would say a little bit so.
Now I will say that this is a bit over exaggerated and hyper sensationalized by Vince, because realistically from just looking at Tyler's video you could already tell that this was a pretty racist store. I mean, there were Confederate flags lying around everywhere. He definitely wasn't passing this off as just some antique store while trying to hide the racist elements. But before I dive deeper into this, I want to show you guys Tyler's response.
This is a Civil War antique store that sells all sorts of artifacts and memorabilia from the Civil War time period. This is one of the silliest points ever, but Vince provides it in his attempt to paint me as a racist. Vince knows there are many objects for sale in the store just by looking at the footage in my video, but he creates a chapter titled KKK in his video, implying I went in there to go on some sort of racist shopping spree when I bought literal rocks. It's literally an antique store with a Civil War theming in the deep south of Georgia. I bought rocks, a piece of paper, and a plate with guns on it. It's almost like saying if you pay admission to go to a Civil War museum, you're somehow supporting slavery. It doesn't even make sense, and Vince knows this, but he preys on an audience that already hates me to create this narrative that I am a racist.
Now this is one of the few arguments where I can kind of understand both sides, and I think the truth lies somewhere in the middle. Now this place is actually a Civil War antique store, yet I don't believe in Tyler's argument that criticizing him for buying something there would be the same as criticizing him for purchasing a ticket to go to a Civil War museum. In my opinion, these are two completely separate scenarios. When you visit a museum, you might come into contact with racist artifacts. However, there will usually be a sign explaining to you what that exact thing is and why it's bad. Plus, you're just looking at these things to get a broader understanding of history. However, when you're in that store, you're only there to buy items. Your intent is to go out of there with newly purchased stuff. And a lot of the items they're selling are racist artifacts, and I don't think the context of, oh, we're a Civil War antique shop, changes changes anything. We can all agree that if I walked into a store and I bought this mask, that would be racist. Now what exactly changes if I go into a store dedicated to selling items from that time period and then buy it? Nothing really, in my opinion. I'd still be a racist and supporting a racist store. This store doesn't exist for historical or informative reasons. They're making money off selling racist items. There's nothing stopping me from walking into that store, buying that KKK uniform and using it to participate in KKK activities. In my opinion, it's a racist store, especially since they have Confederate flags hanging all over the building. And I went into their Google page and the owner even states that they believe in what the Confederate flag stands for. And I know there's like a subsection of people that think it stands for like separatism or something, but I don't believe that's true. In my opinion, it's a white supremacist symbol, and I've never met someone parading around a Confederate flag who's not a racist. So this, in my opinion, is a racist store. Yet at the same time, calling it a KKK store and therefore insinuating that Tyler is promoting KKK dog whistles is yet again taking it a step too far. Cause Tyler didn't buy any racist items from there. He literally bought rocks, and he also didn't promote or even name the store in the video. He was maybe there for a couple of minutes, and that's only cause they were selling something essential that he needed for his video. So I don't think he was promoting KKK ideologies here, even though supporting this store in general is kind of questionable, which is why I think the truth here is that it's a racist store, yet Tyler didn't promote it in any way or go out of his way to hide that fact. Now Tyler bought these automatic assault rocks from the store. It's apparently a gag gift supposed to mock anti-gun activists by implying that if no Americans had guns, they'd have to defend themselves with these rocks. Make of that whatever you will, I guess. Now Tyler actually decided to give these rocks to the racist guy during his interview, and this is what Vince had to say about it.
An automatic assault rocks. That's kind of funny, right?
Oh, yes.
Do you really think supporting a KKK store and then gifting it to the most racist man in America is a great idea, Tyler? Like, what the are you thinking? And Tyler was so proud of this moment that he took a picture with him and he posted it on Instagram and Twitter, and even used 2 separate pictures when he made those posts. And Tyler left this little fact out because he knew it would come across as bad.
I am slowly getting really fed up with Vince here, to be honest. What do you mean Tyler left that detail out of the video? You literally just showed him posting about it multiple times. He's not hiding anything here. With every argument, Vince always pretends that he's like an investigative genius who just uncovered something massive, when in reality, most of the time he's literally just stating the obvious. Now looking past that, I do think it's fair to criticize Tyler for gifting something to literally the most racist man in the United States. However, Tyler actually provided some solid context in his response.
I saw the original video where the most racist man in a video meets another YouTuber, Pootie, and Pootie asks him this.
Me or this white rock right here? Be honest, don't lie to me.
The rock, it serves a purpose.
The guy doesn't even have a phone. You can't set meetings with this guy. He was out there. I knew I still had the rocks in the car. I knew about the Pootie bit with the rocks. I knew I could make him laugh if I gave him the rocks. I did. Boom! We have a video.
I lied. I did see the Pootie video, and I brought a gift. I had no intention to meet you, and we saw her. Like, that's the guy from that one video. He's gonna blow your mind. You ready for this? Okay, so I know you like the rock more than Pootie. I got an automatic assault rocks. That's kind of funny, right?
Oh, yes.
But Vince is so caught up in me being a racist that he wants to connect me giving this guy rocks, which is a callback to this video by Pootie, that it's somehow KKK related. They're just rocks. They're fucking rocks.
So there was a viral clip with the guy saying rocks serve more purpose than black people, therefore Tyler bought him rocks as a comedic bit. Now I will say that I can understand this coming across as a bit racist, but I feel like rocks are such a useless present that giving rocks to this guy literally does nothing. Like, if he gifted him a car or something, then he'd obviously be supporting a racist guy and he would deserve to be criticized. But just giving him rocks as a callback to a different video isn't really that big of a deal to me. This is just a dark humor joke. Tyler obviously didn't come to this guy to have a serious discussion. He went out there to create a few viral clips, just like so many before him did, which is why he brought the rocks, and I don't think anyone should have a problem with Tyler being friendly towards this guy, because a bunch of YouTubers before him already did the same, and it wasn't a problem back then. Since again, no one is even taking the guy seriously in the first place, and obviously Tyler isn't promoting this guy's ideology in the video, so I don't see any problem with Tyler interviewing him. This is just an idiotic argument by Vince. Now let's get into an actually decent Vince vintage argument for a change. I'm gonna take you back to the beautiful country of Jamaica one last time for this.
Tyler sees this restaurant and Tyler says this.
A lot of prostitutes out here. This is one of the hotels where the ladies get brought to have sex with the customers, the Johns. It is called the Pirate Ship Seafood Restaurant. I guess that's just a front, or seafood restaurant by day, prostitute brothel hotel at night. A little bit inconspicuous at first glance, but in actuality, people are getting banged in there for $15 US.
This is a Christian catering restaurant that does weddings. Why the fuck would you just make up a lie about this? For what? Like, what is the story that you're trying to tell? Oh, how shitty it is? I don't think you have to disparage a Christian catering restaurant for weddings and say it's a brothel.
So Tyler claimed that this place was a secret brothel in his Jamaica video, but now Vince managed to successfully point out that it's in fact just a Christian seafood restaurant, and that Tyler literally had zero evidence for this being anything other than just a restaurant. Yet he decided to call it a brothel, even speculating on whether the restaurant is just entirely a front or whether it's a seafood restaurant by day and a red light district brothel by night. Now this is some refreshingly good investigative work by Vince, credit where credit is due, and it's one of the most cut and dry arguments of the controversy, because this is how Tyler responded.
Backroad. That's the real life of it. You can't get more realer than this. That's exactly what's there. The motels are there, the rooms are there, the prostitutes are there. Young, old, middle class, everybody is there, bro.
I asked my guide if it was a hotel. He said yes.
This is where people go to have sex?
Yeah. You probably can just go at the gate and just catch a look quick.
This is a hotel?
Yeah.
The pirate ship? This is where some of the ladies get taken to go have sex in. Let me hop out for 1 minute, Blake. Rolling.
I do want to establish a clear difference between me just inventing a lie and throwing this restaurant under the bus with no context versus me misunderstanding a quick little back and forth between my guide and then expanding upon something I didn't fully understand. Even watching it's embarrassing because I clearly don't even know what I'm talking about. It was not my intent to throw this restaurant under the bus, and I legitimately thought it was a brothel. I apologize, I fucked up, and it's been deleted from the video.
So the behind the scenes footage clearly shows a misunderstanding between Tyler and his guide, which is why Tyler thought that this place was a brothel and decided to push this uninformed claim to his audience. Now sure, it's a bit irresponsible to just call this place you'll know literally nothing about a brothel, where people pay to sleep with hookers for $15 without any evidence at all, but Tyler did apologize, give his reason for why it happened, and he removed the entire section from his video, while also notifying his viewers. So I do think that admitting when you're wrong does take courage. So yeah, this one is done and dusted. Tyler did lie, but not intentionally, and he apologized. This is maybe the one time Vince actually made a great argument by using his investigative abilities without immediately trying to turn it into something bigger than it actually is. So credit where credit is due. Now let's do a full 180 and get into possibly the dumbest point of Vince's entire video, the Border Patrol incident. Now Tyler filmed a video at the US-Mexico border where he literally for only a minute posed as a fake immigrant for a small comedy bit. This is what Vince had to say about it.
I'm gonna see if I get processed. I should probably get my ID though.
Are you part of this group?
Sí. Ahora. Okay, I'm gonna be processed.
And Tyler takes up the spot of one of the asylees and tries to get processed by Border Patrol, all as a big fucking joke. Like, what the fuck are you thinking, Tyler? Literally, you took up the spot of someone that was an actual person fleeing their lives as a fucking meme. What the actual fuck are you thinking? You know the Border Patrol system is backed up for years, and you're just adding on to that for no reason at all. And Tyler was so proud of this that he put it in all of his promo for this video, all over TikTok and Instagram. Oh, I pretended to be an asylee and then get processed. Like, this is the most elitist fucking rich kid shit I've ever seen. This is fucking disgusting.
So Vince is playing the moral outrage card here, and I'm absolutely not falling for it. Literally all Tyler did was he saw the Border Patrol guys approaching a group of people, so he joined them as the last person in line, meaning he didn't even take up any of their spots as he was the last person to board. Then he sat in the van for less than a minute before the Border Patrol guys realized he's a YouTuber and kicked him out, meaning Tyler held back the Border Patrol system for a grand total of 40 seconds. Is this really something something I'm supposed to be angry about. It's just a stupid joke Tyler pulled in one of his videos. It lasted less than a minute and literally didn't harm anyone. I absolutely do not think he did anything malicious here, and trying to play the moral outrage card is extremely disingenuous and more so shows Vince's general personal bias against Tyler. Because if he took a step back and looked at the situation for more than 2 seconds, he would have realized that no actual harm was caused here. In my personal opinion, Vince calling the Shahada an ISIS flag is literally more offensive and more deserving of moral outrage than Tyler being in this border patrol van for 20 seconds. It's just another idiotic argument by Vince. Okay, let's get into the penultimate argument, the news footage Tyler shows during his videos. Now Vince managed to successfully showcase that a bunch of the clips Tyler uses as his background footage during his uploads actually aren't always related to the city he's talking about. For instance, during his infamous Oakland video, he showed this clip of a teen in trouble and another one of an ongoing manhunt, despite these clips not being from Oakland at all, but instead from Miami and Pittsburgh. Now initially I did think that this was somewhat of a decent argument, but it unfortunately turns into a nothing burger the more thought you put into it. Now if Tyler decided to try and paint a false picture by inserting news clips from a different city into his videos, by for instance making it seem like there's gun violence actively happening in a totally peaceful city, then that would 100% be disingenuous framing, because he'd be using these clips to create the perception for his audience that whatever city he's talking about is actually extremely dangerous, when in reality it's just not. Now the problem here is that Tyler isn't lying in anything he's saying, he just chose the wrong clips while saying it. What I mean is that when Tyler talks about gun violence in Oakland, you can actually find hundreds of news videos talking about it. It's something that's genuinely an issue over there. So Tyler isn't wrong in pointing it out, and the incorrect news footage does not equate to him outright lying about places, because everything being shown is actually happening in the cities Tyler talks about. This is more so sloppy editing work and a bit of laziness, and I do think you can criticize this laziness, because these were definitely avoidable mistakes that shouldn't have happened, but at the same time I'm not going to care about it unless you can provide me evidence of Tyler deliberately showing footage from another city while referencing something that isn't actually going on in the city he's currently in. Now Vince took this a step further by claiming that all the news clips from the other cities that Tyler shows throughout the video all consist exclusively of black guys committing crimes.
Is this what a really thorough investigative journalist would do? Be so lazy with the content that they make that they're just throwing in random news clips of, as we've seen right now, only black guys committing crimes.
And Vince, you literally just showed the exact clips you're talking about, and clearly not all of them are just black people committing crimes. Why are you trying to make this about race? You are once again showing your clear bias here. But speaking of biased journalism, let's get into the final talking point, the one-sided journalism in Tyler's videos. Now I'm not gonna show any clips of their arguments here because I don't want to drag this video out for too long, but essentially Vince's problem with Tyler's videos is that a lot of them have a completely ridiculous premise, and he then tries to go out and investigate that premise by oftentimes bringing in someone who's also just not a trustworthy source at all, and Tyler is then co-signing that person's insane beliefs. Now we saw glimpses of this with Darren Stallcup, but Vince also names Christopher Gioia as an example for this. Now Christopher Gioia is probably the only man on earth wearing more tan spray than Donald Trump, and Tyler had him on as his 9/11 insider expert during the I investigated if George Bush did 9/11 video, which is an insane concept by the way. Now this Christopher Gioia guy had no credentials at all. He runs a blatantly misinformation filled website fighting for exposing the hidden truth behind 9/11, claiming that the whole thing was a setup and an inside job carried out by Israeli elitists, which goes against all previously established narratives and in my opinion is just straight up misinformation. Now Tyler had this guy on during his video and he didn't necessarily co-sign everything he said, because he did end the video by stating that he doesn't know what exactly happened on 9/11 and that he just wants to keep asking questions to find out. But realistically, he had this guy monologue about how he believes 9/11 was an inside job throughout like half the video without really ever giving any pushback at all. This does kind of showcase my main issue with Tyler's videos, because I'm all for hearing people out with different perspectives, unless they're obvious grifters that is, but Tyler just chose one perspective. If Tyler put the 9/11 conspiracy guy next to like, I don't know, an actual 9/11 first responder or witness or anyone that would disagree with him really, Tyler would have an interesting video on his hands. But by just having the conspiracy theorist on and letting him speak his truth throughout the video, he's definitely pushing a narrative even though he's not outright co-signing his beliefs. Another decent example for this is the Haitians eating cats video. Now in my personal opinion, there's literally no way Haitians are eating cats in Ohio. It's a made up story meant to damage the image of Haitian immigrants, which is absolutely insane considering the literal US president stated it as fact during the presidential debate. Now the whole reason for Tyler even investigating this absolutely unhinged theory is that there was a clip going around of a black woman actually getting arrested for eating a cat. Now this took me over 2 hours of research to find out, and I can't show you guys all the evidence without doxing people, but I can confidently state that this woman here is an American citizen having a psychotic episode and not some Haitian immigrant. And you can't even say, oh, maybe she's like a first generation kid of Haitian immigrants, because her parents were also born in the United States as well, which means I literally just disproved an argument the president of the United States used. What an insane time to be alive. Anyway, considering there's no evidence of Haitians eating cats, Tyler's whole reason for making the video in the first place is nonsensical. Now granted, Tyler doesn't co-sign the narrative that Haitian people do eat cats in the video, but there's still an obvious lack of pushback here when people say insane things. I'm gonna show you guys a clip as an example here.
We've lost a whole bunch of cats. There was a van pulled over that had over 100 cats in it with the Haitians. They said they was eating them.
Actually?
Yeah.
Not fake news.
Not fake news.
So a van was collecting cats and eating them.
I watched it happen, yeah. Watched them get pulled over with the cats and admit to the police that they was eating them.
You're not joshing with me.
No, I'm almost 50 years old, buddy. No.
You don't mess around.
No.
Brother, how are you gonna call yourself an investigative journalist when you are not even pressing this guy on his insane claim? He just said to your face he saw a bunch of Haitian people stealing cats in a van. Tyler should be asking, when did this happen? Do you have any evidence? What did the police say? But instead he's just nodding along going, oh really? This is not what an investigative journalist would do. An investigative journalist would ask follow-up questions and press this guy on his story. Like if I was Tyler here, I would have questioned this guy until he either left or confessed to making this shit up. Because simply not acknowledging the insanity of his statements shows a clear lack of investigative interest. And that's exactly my main issue with Tyler's videos. He doesn't actually ask too many sensible questions, because having people like this man say unhinged shit creates a much more watchable and digestible video for a right-wing audience than actually deconstructing his statement and possibly catching him in a lie ever would. This is why I believe Tyler shouldn't be calling himself an investigative journalist, because in my opinion he's not. Tyler is an interviewer, nothing more, nothing less, and a bunch of his so-called investigative videos do not look at events from both sides, because more often than not he brings in experts for the right-wing opinion and then he just asks random people for the left-wing opinion, and this of course results in the right-wing opinion seeming more credible and a general push towards the right by Tyler's audience. That's my issue with Tyler. He's not an investigative journalist, he's just an interviewer. By the way, before I conclude, I do want to point out that Tyler defended himself by showing a bunch of clips from the Haiti video where people dispute the Haitians are eating cats claim, and I do feel like it's necessary to mention that some of the clips are from a completely different video. I don't know why he had to lie about this, but that leaves us with this final result. Meaning Vince Vintage actually came out of this whole situation looking worse than Tyler, even though I personally respect Vince a lot more as a creator. It's obvious that in this drama he let his personal vendetta against Tyler cloud his judgment, as he oftentimes went too far with his claims. Honestly, Vince's whole video should have just been a bunch of clips of the people Tyler interviews making insane conspiracy theorist claims, while also showing that Tyler doesn't push back at all and showcasing the lack of credentials Tyler's so-called experts very often have. Had Vince just stuck with that and maybe included the fake robbery claim, he would have had a slam dunk on his hands. But instead Tyler actually came out of this looking surprisingly good, considering I don't think his videos are balanced at all. I definitely believe Vince went down the wrong path. He tried to convert Tyler's audience by saying the video won't be political and won't be calling Tyler a racist, yet he then proceeded to make it political and insinuate that Tyler is racist throughout the whole video, and I think he just should have been honest about his intentions instead. Anyway, that's gonna do it for the video. Please drop a like if you enjoyed, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and also I'm very interested to hear your opinion of this drama, so make sure to write your opinion down below. I'll make sure to respond to as many comments as I can.